Welcome to a new video, guys, and in this video you are going to learn about some of the amazing features of Visual Studio Code. So before we get started, create a folder and create an index.html file in it with a style.css file. So without much ado, let's get started. So the second feature we are going to be looking at is the process of creating classes and ID with some signs. So to create a tag in Visual Studio Code, you don't need to include the angle brackets. So to create a div, you just type in div and the enter button. So you don't need to use the angle bracket, then div, then enter. This doesn't work. You just type in the name of the class, the name of the tag, then you hit the enter button and it gives you the tag that you want. So that's it. But what we actually want to look at is how to create a class, an ID, its signs very easily. So to do this, you write the name of the tag. So let's use an header, for instance. So we want to use header 1. Then we want to give it a class of container. So to write the class, you use a dot to represent the class. Then you type in the name you want the class to be. So in this case, we said container. Then you hit the enter button. So this gives you an header tag with a class that has container as the name. So this can also be done for the ID. So let's type in H1. But for the ID, you're going to use the pound sign instead of the dot sign. So the dot is for the class and the pound is for the ID. So you type in the pound sign and type in box. So you can see we have an ID with a box. And also you can create a div tag with a class or with an ID without having to type out the div tag itself. So this is what I mean by that. So to create a div with a class of container, you just have to put the dot and container, then you hit the enter button. So this gives us a div with a class of container. So we didn't type the div then dot class. You can do that also, it also works, but to make things faster, you just type in dots and class and the name of the class. And also this can also be done for the ID. So let's use the pound sign and let's type in container also. So you can see we have our div with the ID container. So that's the second feature that I really enjoyed about Visual Studio Code. So let's create an index.html file, and let's also create another style.css file. So what we want to do when we first open our index.html file is to load the basic HTML template. So in Sublime Text, to do that, you put the angle bracket and you type in HTML and you hit the enter button to do that. But in Visual Studio Code, there are two different ways to do that. The first one is just by typing HTML and you go for the one with the semicolon and 5. So that gives the basic HTML template. And the other way to do this is just by using an exclamation mark and the enter button, which is the fastest way and is the one I use and I prefer the most. So that's the first thing we are looking at in this video. Coming up next, we are going to be looking at the theme of Visual Studio Code. So you can actually change the background color to different colors if you want. So to do that, you go to settings and you type in the theme in the search bar. Then you go to the first one. So this one is the default dark plus, which is the default. You can also change it to default light plus or monokai or red or solarized dark. Yeah. I think I like this one. So back to the HTML code. Now we are going to be looking at how to create multiple tags. So this is also another feature that Sublime Text does not have. I'm not actually saying Sublime Text is not good, but I'm just talking about the features I found out about Visual Studio Code. So to create multiple tags, so now let's create a div. Yes, then we'll use the greater than sign and type in h1. So with enter button. So you can see here we have a div with an h1 tag in it. So in places you can see this to be useful is when you are creating lists. So let's type in an ordered list, then we use the greater than sign. Then you can type in li and the enter button. So if you want to create more, you can just type in the unordered list, the greater than sign, type in li and the multiplication sign, and type in how many you want. So let's say we want 5. So we want it to give us an unordered list with 5 lists in it. So here we have it. We have unordered list and we have lists in it, 5 lists in it. And also we can create a paragraph tag with text inside. Let's just put the lorem ipsum. So enter. So we can see here we have our paragraph tag with the lorem ipsum dummy tags in it. So that's how we can create multiple tags in Visual Studio Code easily.